name is Shanti Ashworth, and I'm privileged. I attend a private school in a large building that offers me hundreds of extracurricular opportunities just like this one. I have living friends and family, but more importantly, I have a roof over my head. I have never had to wonder about when my next full meal would be. On paper, this almost sounds like the perfect life. An outsider looking in would think I would have no reason to ever be truly unhappy. But with that thought, they are forgetting about an exasperating but annoyingly loyal companion that has guided me through life for 17 years. Pressure. Now, pressure is many things and can take on many forms. But those who have felt it would generally agree that it can feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You feel it when you think you have to do something, and you have to do it well, and are terrified of what would happen if you were to fail. But what if I told you that there was a way to maybe not completely shake off this feeling, but minimize it so that it feels more akin to the weight of a sack of potatoes on your shoulders, as opposed to the entire world? This is by introducing pressure to a friend. The kind of friend that can hold pressure back from causing us such distress and threatening our happiness. A friend called gratitude. Now, as I recently waded through the piles of homework, endless tests, and nerve-wracking presentations that come with being in your last year of high school, I stumbled upon a quote that I simply could not stop thinking about. This quote is "Pressure is privilege" by the tennis icon Billie Jean King. Now, when I first heard it, I scoffed, I rolled my eyes, and I quickly returned to my mountain of work without thinking much of it. But throughout time, the thought kept resurfacing in my mind until I finally stopped and really started thinking about it. Somewhere out there, there is a 17-year-old girl not going to school, whose worries do not include her back average or which university she will end up going to, but are instead founded in the question of if there would be food on the table tonight. This girl is one of the 250 million other children that are currently out of school. Some of them never attended one in the first place. They feel a pressure foreign to most of those in this room right now. The pressure to simply try and find a way to stay alive. Now, I've had the pleasure of knowing one man who is familiar with this type of pressure, who has taught and often had to remind me of the fact that I am extremely lucky living the way I do. This man is my father, the one and only Peter Ashworth. A high school dropout, he worked about 1 million different jobs when he was only 15 years old, and was practically living from paycheck to paycheck on his own by his 17th. Through his stories and memories, he has shown me a drastically different way of life from the one I currently lead. But as it turns out, he was actually quite happy while living this way. He was going on dates, playing pranks on his coworkers, even when his wallet felt as light as a feather. Doesn't this make you ask yourself, if he could be happy then, we should probably be able to be happy now, right? Now, I am not trying to spread the message that we need to be happy all the time just because we have access to the basic amenities. I simply believe that incorporating a bit more gratitude into our lives can drastically change the way we think about pressure and happiness. Education is a perfect example for a field where we should be a lot more grateful. As a student myself, I can attest to the fact that when wandering the halls of basically any high school out there, you cannot help but overhear the complaints of thousands of teenagers saying things like, "I have to pass this next test or my parents will kill me," or "My teacher just gave me even more homework, I hate them." But don't these complaints seem so inherently wrong with education and even the pressure that comes with it, truly being a privilege not available to everyone? With this in mind, I believe more students should at least internally consider the fact that they don't have to learn they get to. This change in mindset has the potential to greatly affect the extent to which we let pressure affect our psyche. Because while I do believe that life will always have its ups and downs, these high and low points also provide us with opportunities to learn and grow, even those devastating lows where we are buried in work and pressure. This additionally means that when we are pursuing success, which is usually the kind of situation where we are under a lot of pressure, we needn't completely relinquish our chances of happiness, because sometimes it can be found somewhere along the way, in two ways. One I have just described, by seeing the mere chance of success and the fact that it is attainable to you as a privilege, because there are people out there that cannot even dream of it. The other is by appreciating pressure as a motivator. It drives us, it molds us, and it teaches us so much about ourselves and our capabilities. Think about it. Would anyone ever really achieve anything without pressure? Does every single person in the world just have this inherent drive and ambition to work, especially when what they are working on is not completely paramount to their existence? I think most would agree with me when I say that this is in fact not the case, which is why pressure is so important. It propels us to do what we must to achieve our goals, meet and exceed expectations, and grow as people. With all that said, the question remains, how do we actually implement all of these ideas into our daily lives? One way of doing this is through global awareness. By reading or listening to the news, reading books, or even just observing the world around you, you can keep your feet on the ground when you are surrounded by wealth in all shapes and forms. It gives us a tangible, real-world connection to why we are so lucky, which is necessary for a true change in perspective. Now, other ways of practicing gratitude include those preached by various mindfulness specialists. There's affirmations, even such a thing as a gratitude journal. But it does not need to be difficult. In fact, let's all practice some gratitude right now. I challenge each and every single one of you to close your eyes, push all other thoughts from your mind, and think about 3 things that you are grateful for in your life. That is not something most people stop to think about very often. But aren't these all such wonderful things to have in our lives? So, this proves it. This change in mindset is not the challenge that it seems. The first step happens inside of us, in our minds, with how we think about our lives and the challenges we are confronted with. So, with all that said, my name is still Shanti Ashworth. But I now know I am privileged in a way I didn't before. From now on, I intend to grasp every opportunity that comes my way and feel grateful for them, and complete my final year at this school feeling lucky that I have been able to attend it in the first place. After all, pressure is privilege. It only comes to those who earn it. Thank you.